All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. So, hopefully, you guys can hear me. This is the live stream that we do every Tuesday, a little bit earlier than normal because of my daughter's volleyball game. And sometimes she has like practices, but usually practice doesn't really interfere with it. But if she has a game, it seems like that kind of coincides with it. So today we're going to be working on doing the dime for the little hamster. He'll be holding on to a dime. And then I was going to try putting in some shadows. Um, but this is just an art chat and a live stream to where you can chat with me. If you have any art related questions, you can ask your questions. I'll try and help you the best that I possibly can. And also, I like to share things too on what's coming up or what I'm doing. So that way you kind of get an idea too what I have been up to and some of the things that I have been doing. So, as far as Patreon goes, for my Patreon members, I am still working on that chimp. I was trying to do his mouth is what we're going to do on, or it's actually his nose and kind of like his mouth area. So that will be on our Patreon. It may end up being a little bit late. I'm not for sure. I mean, things have been really hectic around here as far as busy, busy, busy. I'm going to try and fit in time to be able to do that and get that to you guys. And also on Patreon, I do have reference photos for you guys because I wanted to include the glass little perfume bottle that I have. I took a reference photo. So the one that I used um, for the piece here that we're doing, the perfume bottle, that will be one of the reference photos, along with the cherries for the ink painting that I'm doing. That one, you'll end up getting two of those on, like two pictures of that, because I had to use two reference photos because I'm still learning with my camera. But I think the cherries came out clear, really, really clear on one to where I could use those and it's perfect. But then the top portion was a little bit blurred out. So I know that there's got to be a setting on my camera to be able to fix that, but I haven't figured it out. So I went ahead and took another picture to where the gold is on top of the cherries for the stem is actually clear, and then the bottom is a little blurry. So it's the same picture, like identical. It's just one's got the clear part and one's got not. So that's why I'm going to be giving you guys those reference photos. And yeah, I'm a little bit behind on that. So those are coming. I promise you guys, those are coming. And I think that's pretty much it. Besides working on Halloween decorations, I have been making my own props. So I wanted to show you guys what I've been working. So I've been making humongous candies. As you can see, they look like big candies. My daughter actually made this one. So we got big candies going on. And then I made like these little suckers. So it looks like little suckers, which is really kind of cool. These are going to be Halloween props. Probably thinking, why do you have candies for Halloween props? I'm doing, I had for a little while my clowns, and I never had any kind of props for my haunted clowns. So I decided to go ahead and make my own props for them. Along with, I'm still going to have to make it, but I have like even a lollipop. So that will go with, along with some of my clown stuff. And then I was like making up some like clown toys, like creepy clown toys. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. I got like 3 of these, so they're going to be like intermixed, almost like juggles or whatever, because clowns, they always have like really weird stuff. Like it's abnormal. So anything that looks abnormal is usually can belong to a clown. So that's what I've been working on while trying to do my daughter's practices and everything else. Also, if you could, please leave a like on this video, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely helps the channel, so I wanted to put that out there for you guys. That way we can get that algorithm up because it definitely needs to be boosted on that. So if you can click the like, that definitely helps 100%. So let's go ahead and move this over to the other camera so we can look at the drawing color pencil that we have been doing. Excuse me. Got this paper here. It's kind of going everywhere. All right. So I got to get on my little glove, and that way we don't get no oils on the paper. And here is my dime here. Now, as you can see, I didn't write in like every detail of the dime. I actually don't even have it because it says Liberty up here. Then it's got a year. Then it's got, you know, in God we trust right here. And then, you know, it's got that inside the dime. Well, instead, I want to make mine a little bit different. That way we're not going exactly like a dime, but I want everybody to know it is a dime. So I don't really want to put too much into the dime, except for making it more like a dime and then having the 10 cents. So we are not going to make it extremely, should I say photorealistic maybe? Like a hyper-realistic dime. We're going to make it a little bit more animated. I don't know if it's animated or my words are always so horrible, but I'm trying to describe it. We're just not going to make it like exactly like a dime, but you'll know it's a dime. I want to put 10 cents in there, like 10 and then a cent. That way everybody knows when they look at it, they're like, oh, it's 10 cents. It's a dime. Just try and get some of this graphite off. Use my little brush here. And now we're going to end up going in. I know I will end up moving that when we do our shadows. So the colors that I'm going to use for this is going to be basically all of my, any kind of cold grays that I have. I'm going to use those for this here. So right now these are all warm. Looks like all my warm grays. Put these over here. Let's see here. And these are the Polychromos pencils. So we got cold. That's going to be a warm. And I use the cold grays because they have a little bit more of a cooler tone to it. And usually in metals, we like to stick with the cooler tones. There's cold, and there's cold. Okay, so those are all my cold grays. And then for my darkest areas, like where you want it super dark, you would go with a darker color like a black. So I do have my Derwent Light Fast Black that I can use. I mean, I can add a little bit of blue in there, like a nightshade black. It's a black with a blue tone to it. Could do that also. So we'll just see, but I'll keep those on hand. And then also the white that I use is the Derwent Drawing Chinese White. It is super white. I really do love, love, love this pencil. Looks like it needs to be sharpened. Who's making all that noise? I bet it's Stella over there, isn't it? Well, I think it is. I think it's Stella. I think she's over there. Hold on. Pebbles. Pebbles. No, it's Pebbles. I had to check on her real quick. I was like, who is that making all that noise? Obviously, there's a sunflower seed underneath her little wooden thing, and she's trying to get to it. So she's making a lot of noise. Okay, so I got this sharpened just a little bit. It's actually getting to the point where it's super hard to sharpen. It may end up retiring here soon. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And I hope I have my You know what? I don't know if I have my comments up or not. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get that back up. I may have to look at, just now noticed. I was like, oh no. It shouldn't take long. Hold on. Make this a little smaller. Bring it over here. Go here. Let's go to manage. Okay. All right. So I should be able to see your comments now. I don't know why I didn't have that pulled up. Oops. Didn't mean to turn off my mouse neither. Boy, I'm just having a great Tuesday, huh? Okay, that's back going. Okay, so now I should be good. I should be able to see your comments. If you make any comments, I should be able to see them. So now let's go ahead and get started. On my reference photo, I took my own reference photo of the dime, and there is not, doesn't look like too much of really, really dark areas in my actual reference photo here. Make sure that's nice and sharp. And let's go ahead and draw or get out our outline here. We're going to do with the darker part on top. At least the, it's not going to be too dark, but is this going to be, oh, I feel my lead is broken inside. That's not good. That usually doesn't happen that often with the polychromos. So, yeah, my lead's broken inside. Oh, there it is. I can't stand it wiggling on me. It will drive me insane. Yeah, that hardly ever happens with the polychromos. Usually they're pretty hard of a lead and usually don't have tendencies of breaking like that. That was inside the core. But who knows? Maybe I dropped it or did something. Or maybe in the shipping process. I don't know. So usually they're... Okay, just sharpen the tip on that one. That should be good. All right, so I got my pencil back. So we'll end up keeping that like that. Looks like the, let's see here, we'll get a little bit lighter tone. And I'm going to put this in here. And if the pink looks like it's a little uneven in those areas, I can easily put some more pink in there and just kind of get rid of it to where it's a little bit more even. Let's put some darker gray. We're just going to go in with our different tones of gray. Looks like it's a little bit darker on this side too. Let's get this up here. It's a little bit darker just because it's in between his little hands here. And I'm just going back and forth between my grays. Looks like in the middle Has a little bit of color in there, a little bit of grays, and then it goes lighter on the outside. So as long as we can get this like as close as we can, that's all that really matters. It does look a little bit warmer of a silver in there, but I don't know if we should actually stick that in there. We may stick a little bit of a warm color, like a warm gray in there. Just because it looks like that in the reference photo has a little bit of a warmth in there. And it could be just what it's reflecting off of, but nonetheless, we can always stick a little bit of warmth, just a little minute color. Maybe even a lighter, warm color along the outside edges. Okay, we may need to make that a little bit more rigidy. I really like to do that with my pink though, like the color that we used in our pinks. Let's see if this might be close enough. That looks a little bit lighter of a pink, so I'm just going to go in and making some uneven edges here. Doesn't have to be too perfect. And then I should be able to round this off with some white. This is where we're going to get a little bit more of an even circle, like a little bit more of an even line through here. Plus adding in some of those highlights make it super nice. Okay, I think I missed a spot up on top here. We'll make that, actually we don't need it that light, we want a little bit darker of a gray, just a kind of a mid-tone gray in here. And then possibly take our lighter gray toward the top. You can always come back in, stick in some of that white. If it looks too dark, just go over at the top of it with your white and that tones it down. Creates, hey, how are you? Aw, so glad you made the live. It has definitely been a busy week, I can tell you that. I know for me it has. Okay, there may be some little fluffy hair in here, so I'm not really going to worry too much about it right this moment. Just using some of that pink to kind of get that inner or outside edge in there filled in. So now we're going to go on to a round. Let's see here. We're going to have to take a little bit darker. How am I going to do this? Let's see here. Do I want to do 10 cents right? Yeah, we'll just keep it in that area. So we're going to put a 1. Their ones just look like a 1. Like, I don't know if we do that or if we just write it in. We're going to stick it in like this for right now. That does say Liberty. I wonder if we should do that. I hate letters. That is the one thing with me. That I do not like to do is lettering. I might make some hair go over the top of that. Make that stand out a little bit. And there's some little areas of hair. We're just going to put in the dark little areas here. I don't think I'm really going to go into it too much. I'm putting this stuff in because whenever we go over it with our lighter colors or our grays, we'll at least have something that'll stay and be there. Especially when my dime's all worn out. Okay, and then we got this little area here. I am not a portrait artist, so he may end up looking like the Wicked Witch of the West here. The only good thing is that it's kind of worn out. And I don't know. His hair is covered up by his paw. Oh well, I guess that's as good as it's gonna get for right now. I don't think I have to add too much detail in it. Yeah, just there read live and was like, oh, yay. Things have been crazy over here. After we buried my Friday, her son died. Oh no. Then last week lost my maternal uncle, but I'm good here in my happy place. You're awesome. Aw, that's so sad. I'm so sorry about, wow, all the losses. Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry. They always say, I've always seen it too. It's like they always, like when someone passes, it's like always in threes. Like it's it's crazy how that goes. But I have seen it many, many times. It always happening in threes, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So whenever it's someone, I know it's horrible to think. I'm like, gosh, I'm in the spirit of Halloween, so it's really not probably good anyway. But every time that something happens close to my relatives, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I the third one? It's like, oh my goodness, I'm so bad. I'm like, I need to stop watching too many scary movies. I really do. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, am I the third one? But it seems to always happen in threes. I'm so sorry. Aww. I'm gonna kind of make these, I'm using a cold gray, I guess the third, like cold gray number 3, numerals number 3, just to kind of get this base going on. And if I have to go darker or lighter anywhere, I still can, like right in this area, if I feel like I need to go maybe just a tad bit darker, I can. Oop. Really would like a white that actually stands out a little bit more, like harder white. I'd like to get I like my Derwent, but it's usually the best white, but sometimes it's a little bit too thick if I can't get it sharpened. Too much of a point on it without it breaking because it is a softer lead. So we're going to try this one. This one here is the Derwent Light Fast, and it's the white in it. Let's just see how it stands out. It stands out a little bit. Yep, before it breaks. It is a soft lead also. You're probably not going to be able to read this. But that's okay because sometimes lettering is really light on something that is worn out. As long as you guys can read the 10 cents. Okay, let's just go ahead and keep going. We're going to go ahead and put some more of this darker area in here. Maybe in here also. Let's go ahead and add another layer. Actually, I want a little bit darker tone, and we're going to go in here or in and around his hair area with a little bit darker, so that way it kind of stands out a little bit, kind of like it's actually like up, like it's actually pulled up. If we need to end up going darker eventually we can, but let's just slowly just kind of Gradually do this. Okay. And I think there's a little bit of a lip or a nice, a little bit darker of a shade in here. So we're just gonna put that in. Okay. A friend, my grandmother died, which was the third death I heard about. Thought my family was safe. Nope. Oh no. Oh no. That's horrible. Oh. So you thought the same thing, like thinking, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, because I don't know who the third one was, but when my grandma, I think it was grandma, yeah, my grandma passed away. And then after she passed away, then it was within like a day. I think it was like one day, maybe 2 days. And then my father passed away. So I had lost my grandma and then went to her funeral. And then after I got through with her funeral, I went to go get a student that I was at the time training and, a student teaching and with my other job. And whenever I went to go get her and was heading on out, was like within like 2 or 3 days. And then my father passed away, and I was like, what? And here I was on my way, like driving to California, and I was like, wow. So it was like back to back. And the third one, I don't know if there was a third one. I don't know, but you never know if maybe there was in my family and I just didn't hear about it or something. Um, because we do have distant family, very distant family, so you never know, but I remember it was two at least. Oh, the only thing I can think about is like, okay, well, maybe my grandma is with him and saying, "Oh, hey, you join me. Now we're here. You're not alone." It's like, yay. At least that's what I think. I just like think, okay, maybe they're not alone. They have always somebody right there with them. Okay, let me take some of my lighter color. This is a warm gray. I'm actually gonna throw that in just because of the reflections that are kind of going on. Should actually do pink. I don't know if pink reflects off of the dime very well. I'm going to use my odorless mineral spirits already. I know I should have worked on his face, but I want to kind of see what this looks like. Kind of blending this in. Any kind of adjustments that I need to make, I can do before actually starting this guy's head. This guy, I know, president. He's a president. I didn't do very good in history. I did like listening to all the stories. Love those stories. All right, that looks pretty good. Oh, forgot the top up there. Sorry, we'll work on that. Working so much on this other part, I forgot about the top of the the head here. Stick some of the cold gray light in there. I might stick some of the warmth because of a shadow, possibly in between his little hands. And then a darker gray, a little bit darker of a gray to kind of go around the top of the head, maybe right in this area too. Let's go ahead and try and blend that just a little bit. Such a small, minute area here. Okay. Now I didn't do his actual face yet on the dime, but we are going to do that right now. Especially when they've been suffering so long, I definitely feel that family comes back so they aren't afraid to leave this world. Yep, that's the way I think the same thing. I'm thinking grandma was right there. Okay, I don't want to go too dark with this. I think we already had this a little bit darker. We're just going to put some little bit of shadows in here. His nose had a little bit of a shadow. I don't know. I'm gonna end up making him look like he's got like full cheeks. It was a little bit high. There. Feel like, oh look, he's eating popcorn or something. Let's go ahead and bring that down a notch. I think I had it there. Yeah, let's bring that down a notch on the shadowing. I want to shadow behind his ear. And then around his earlobe. We also have a little bit of a highlight going on, so I just want to make sure this area here is a little bit darker. We are going to have a highlight that goes right along his neck. And right along the top of his head here has a little bit of a highlight. Right along the front of his head looks like a little bit of a highlight. Oh no, looks like maybe the top of his lip. Nothing really in the cheek area. Looks like a little bit darker on his cheekbones, so we'll go a little bit darker in this area here. Let's go a little bit darker right in this little area here. Kind of has a split going on. And right underneath his chin. probably is about as good as what I can make it as far as trying to get it as close as I can to the reference photo by coloring it in. He probably looks very angry. Oh yeah, especially when, oh, I just read that. Silly me. I started rereading your comment. I'm like, oh, here we go again, reading. Let me go ahead and put in this highlight. And I'm putting in this highlight so whenever I'm blending, at least some of these areas where I do put in this highlight maybe might stand out. It won't be, you know, it'll still stay light. Putting that around his ear. And definitely he's going to have some highlights kind of streaming in on his hair. So we would definitely want to put that in. Even if you can't really see it too well, it's okay because you're still getting that wax content from the pencil on the paper. So whenever you blend, you still get a little area that will stay lighter. And then for the finish, you can always go in and put a little bit more in if needed of the white. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Looks like an angry man, an angry man on the dime. It always looks good. It's just it looks like an angry man. It doesn't never. That's the reason why I don't do portraits. Now, if you want me to do something scary or maybe not a portrait, maybe you want me to draw Frankenstein or you want me to draw like I don't know, like a zombie or something. Okay, I don't have no problems doing that. I just have a problem with, hey, draw George and hopefully it looks like George, and then I draw George and George comes out not looking like George. George looks like a different person. I don't know. Just never the greatest at it. Like doing portraits. I don't know. It's been a while since I did portraits, so. Okay, so that looks a whole lot smoother. I like the way that looks. All right. And we definitely had that three-dimensional kind of pop out look from the dime. We will have to go over this dime again because I definitely want to make my 10 cents kind of stand out here. So I'm going to put a little bit more. Okay. Looks good enough. Good enough. Let's go ahead and start. Should be able to work on this. It should be dry by now. Start emphasizing a little bit on these darker areas. Yeah, my bad with people in portraits. Yep. Be like, that's my weakness right there. But yeah, it's like, you know, made the dime look pretty good, but it still doesn't look like the president. I don't know. I'm putting a warm gray in the center here. Thinking about putting warm gray right around the edge also. Okay, I need to bring this tone down. Right through here. Okay, and then we're going to shadow it in. Doing the same kind of stuff we did before, just kind of adding a little bit of a shadow. Definitely on this top part. Really like the way that looks. I also said we were going to get to shadowing too. Hopefully, let's see on time. We're doing really good on time. So yeah, we should be able to get to shadowing some of these areas. Okay. I think that looks good. If I need any places a little bit lighter, put some of this in. Some of this white. Put some in right along here. Okay. Kind of wash my little scent out there. There. My 10 cents. All right, so he's definitely got the 10 cents. If there's anything more, if I want to do to it, I can. I can just go back over it. I'm really liking the way it looks. I really like the little dime. Now, I did notice that it's missing the shadow, so we definitely want to start adding some shadows in. The shadows that I'm going to use would be basically my light source is coming in from this side. That's why we have the shadow right here. We have a shadow here. So if you're wanting to like judge where a shadow is, you don't have a reference photo that shows the shadow because you're using different reference photos. So they're not all from the same place. So like you can take, for instance, you have a shadow of something like this and it's coming down, as you can see. So you're going to want to do the shadow kind of in the same direction. So it's going to be like right in here for a shadow. So I'm going to go in here and make that a little bit darker. If I need to go a little bit more to a darker pencil, I can. So it'd be right in here. And I'm going to add, like, just do light little circles. Around. Come a little bit up, and then I'm going to taper it off. We're going to taper it off, like, right in here. And then I'm going to taper it off, like, right in there. And this is definitely going to give it more of a three-dimensional kind of look to it. Just having that shadow. And we could come out just a little bit more on this side. And we're just pulling it away from it, but we're also trying to keep that same circular, kind of like a half moon kind of shape. Now, if you don't like that it looks a little bit gritty or grainy looking, you can easily blend this just very lightly. So you don't want to use a whole lot of odorless mineral spirits on this because you do have several layers of color pencil that you're putting that on top of. So if you end up using too much of your odorless mineral spirits, you may end up eating through that color and into the pink, which will make a crater. And you do not want to make any craters. Craters are bad. So make sure you wiped off as much of the odorless mineral spirits as you can off your brush before you go in and just lightly blend this just a little bit. You don't have to really scrub hard or anything like that, but just a light blend, and especially on the outside edges. That way you're not removing any pigment. So there's our shadow on the dime. So now we want to move on to some more shadows. And we're definitely going to have to work on the purse. Let's see here. Is this your new schedule? Early in the day. So far, by the looks on my calendar for like my daughter's volleyball games, she's been having them. I think maybe next week she might not have it on a Tuesday, but then there's been like weeks where she's having it 3 days and then 4 days out of the week. So I'm almost thinking it'd probably be safe to keep it at this time until her volleyball season is over with, and that would be sometime in mid-October, I would say. So sometime around mid-October, I'm thinking about keeping it at this time so that way I'm able to go take her to her volleyball games. So the volleyball is been causing the schedule change, which I'm still not used to. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's earlier. But yeah, it's just going to be a temporary thing until her volleyball schedule. Trying to, oh, I'm not supposed to move that down. I need to move it up. Well, let me move the camera. There we go. Work smarter, not harder, Deborah. You can do that. Okay, so now we need to make the purse have a shadow. And I know I used my cold grays, it's fine. If I need to add in anything darker, I will. Now, I definitely wanted to make this more of a straighter line. So I'm actually going to come in, I'm going to use a ruler. I'm going to use it where I can actually see what I'm doing. And right in here, I definitely want to make this a little bit darker, because I know we did this. I had that a little bit uneven, and I was like, it'll be okay because I can always darken it up with the shadow. So we definitely needed to darken that up with the shadow. Okay, that way it makes it a little bit more even toned. Just kind of take that shadow and right through here, just kind of taper it. So we'll probably come through here. And then we'll take the shadow in over here. I want the shadow to come narrow on this side and be a little bit thicker in this side. I mean, yeah, we got a little hamster coming out, so, but I don't really want to put a shadow of him. I just want a little bit of a shadow for the purse. I'm going to switch over and start using a little bit of a lighter gray. And then I want to go to a super light gray in here, to where you can barely see it. I mean, it is very, very light. And I want to go right along the edge. Of those other grays. I also want to make this a little bit darker in here. So I'm actually going to switch over. I'm going to go to my black. Aw, yeah, definitely. I hope she does win. That would be super nice. Like, she's in the 7th grade, so they have an A team and a B team, and so they play 3 games. And so she'll play, the A team will play first, and then after their little match on the first, then the second game, when they switch around the net or whatever, then she will be on the B team. And who knows what they're going to do after that. I don't know if they're going to switch it up or what. That looks pretty good. I like that. Putting that black in the closest I can. To the darkest area of the purse. And now we're going to go ahead and blend this out with odorless mineral spirits. Yeah, she says, she was telling me, and I said, oh, aren't you so excited? It's game day. And I start singing. And she just looks at me and she goes, I'm so nervous. I said, don't be nervous. I said, you'll be just fine. I kind of blended that up in there. I didn't mean to do that. Trying to blend out very slowly and carefully. Closest to this area. Now let's get this side. Now I'm going to get some of these grays. I am using a little bit more OMS than normal, or not really than normal, like I'm using more OMS. I'm still wiping it off on a paper towel, so it's not that drenched, but I am using a little bit more just because it's our first blend on here. So we had several layers down on the paper, then I would use less, but this is our first layer, so I want it to look a little misty or a little foggy, just kind of blend it out. Take out those lines, those pencil lines. Okay. I think we're good on those. So we got a nice little shadow going on there. And then whenever I take a step back and look at it too, like from a distance, you can also tell if you need to make adjustments or make some adjustments on your shadows. But for right now at this distance, by the way it looks pretty good. I don't know if I need to make the dime shadow a little bit darker. Almost looks like I need to. It's gonna be one of those things that I'm gonna have to take a step back. Maybe I should just go ahead and make it a little bit darker. I did blend it out with the odorless mineral spirit, so it does darken it and then it lightens back up. So if you need to add a little bit more, you can always do it. There. That looks a little bit better. Okay. So we'll leave that. Now we got to do the little pearls here. We're going to make some shadows on it. So on the pearls, just the same kind of way. We're just going to come off from the side here. Maybe I should go a little bit darker. Let me put a black in here. Okay. And then let me put a little bit lighter of a gray. Let's tune it. Use some different shades in here and just go from dark to light in here. Okay, let's go ahead and create or do the odorless mineral spirits and get that blended out. And we can go to the next one. So we just went from black around the inner part and then went to, basically it's from dark to light, your black, your dark gray, your mid-tone gray, and then your lightest gray for the outside portion. I'm almost eating this bar, by the way. It is super close. There we go. So that's a pearl. It's got this little shadow going on. And then we'll just do this one over here. You get a better idea when we do more than one, and especially whenever you start doing more than one, you start getting a little quicker, a little bit faster, because you'll tend to get in a habit of doing the same thing over and over. So we're going to put in our black first this time. And then we're going to pull that black out right in the center. So that should be good. Right in there. Right in there. Okay. So then after we do that, we're going to go to our dark gray. And then we're going to go to a little bit lighter of a gray. I was hoping I'd pick up the same one, but you never really know. So there we go. And then we'll just blend that out with odorless mineral spirits, and then we'll have shadow number 2 done. Looks like a little bit darker than the other one. Once this dries here, I can always go back over it and put a little bit more black in there. Make that one a little bit darker. Let's go over, I'm going to move this camera. Oh, this is always scary. Let's try and move it. There we go. If it'll stay. It's pretty close. Okay, I think I can handle that. So let's go ahead and do the same thing with the next pearl. So we're going to add in this black right in here and just kind of cradle it. Okay, then we're going to go to our darker gray and just come out from it just a little bit. Okay, and then we'll go to our lighter gray. Okay, and then we'll blend this out with odorless mineral spirits. I'm going to come back through and darken that one, this one here. So I'm basically just adding another coat to it. Okay. So now we got those pearls. Now we got this one here, which of course the only thing you're going to see on this one is maybe a little bit of black in here. Won't be much. And that's basically all you're really going to see. It's just going to be a little bitty dot. I mean, that's really all. You blend that little dot out, make it a little bit fuzzy. Can. There ain't going to be much underneath that one. And then this last one, last pearl here before we move on to the perfume bottle. This one's a totally different position, so it's probably going to have a little bit of a different shadow, probably a little bit higher up, so we're not going to come out that much with the black like we did on the other ones, but just a little bit, but not as much. Let's do gray. Okay, and then let's do the lighter gray. Looks about good. We can blend that out with odorless mineral spirits. Just to kind of soften it. It definitely came all the way out there, didn't it? Okay, that should be fine. All right. So that looks pretty good. Now all we need is more of the shadow on the bottom of the glass. I probably am not going to really worry too much about, because otherwise we're going to have a glass with the actual light. I don't really want to go that far into it. So we're just going to put like a dark shadow just right underneath the edge of the glass in here. Just where it sits. Come out with it just a little bit. That, and then I'll probably put just a little bit more of a darker color, maybe right along the bottom, like the black. Just want to draw a line. Don't really want much on this glass. All right. Otherwise, that's a whole nother thing. There we go. Just that little bit right there should be it. I'm not really going to go into depth making the actual glass or anything, kind of shining through and making a whole reflection, but let's just kind of back this up and just kind of look at what we got. Oops. Don't drop the camera. Or maybe. Actually, I could hold it up like that. There we go, maybe. And that way we take a step back. Let's try and move this just a little bit. And bring it down. There we go. So that's just taking it back a little step and just being able to look at it and kind of get a better picture. Now, I don't think I nearly need to go darker with anything on my dime that I can see, because I mean, it's really, really silver. I mean, it kind of looks like that. There ain't really a whole lot of like really dark blacks in there or anything. I do see maybe you might have a little bit darker, like a little points in there, but it's not really much. You do have a lot more reflection, so we could end up doing that. I mean, we have just a little bit of time still left. We probably won't get to the 2-hour mark. The coin is looking good. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna go 2 full hours, but that is okay. Because you know what? Next week we are going to do the hamster. So the hamster is next week. I'm putting this in here to make for brighter lines, maybe some brighter whites. So let's do that. Maybe a little bit where the dime is, or the 10 cents. Don't want it too thick. And this stuff that I'm using is the brush and pencil. Just in case if anybody watches this and they don't know, it is the brush and pencil, and it's the color pencil touch up texture. So it just brushes on, you let it dry, and once it dries you should be able to go back on it with any kind of highlights, or if you need to add another layer to something, definitely helps. So that will be drying. I don't really think there's really too much more we need to do besides the hamster, and that will be Oops. I think I just brushed over that. That'll be next week. Next week is Hamster. And then after that, I think this is perfect for any kind of like my little dressing room that I'm gonna have. On brighter note, did you guys like the cool little colorful pack painting that I did? My little spooky eyes and my spooky creatures. See, it's got a little top hat looking. So I put like some really spooky stuff in there. This is super cool. I was like getting ready. I was going to put it in a frame and then I stopped myself. I wonder where that frame went. Oh, it's just sitting on the table. But yeah, the thing is pretty cool. It's actually really easy to do. So, what was the brand of the, let's see here. You told me about that starts with an L. Hold on. Oh, brand of color. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. So the brand of color pencil, you told me what it starts with L. Okay, so you got could have been the Derwent Lightfast pencil, or I also got the Carandosh Luminance. So we got Carandosh Luminance, Derwent Lightfast. I don't know which one you were talking about, like this Luminance pencil. So I'm not for sure. We were talking, I think we were talking about the polychromos, but it didn't really start with an L. So the polychromos is the harder of the pencils. A lot of people like them because they can sharpen them to a finer point. And there are basically, they say they're oil-based pencils, but in all reality, they're all made up of oil and wax mixture. It's just depending on the percentage of how much wax, how much oil. They are a harder lead, so you can sharpen them to a point, and you're able to get more finer details with the polychromos. Now, the Derwent Lightfast pencil is a little bit softer of a lead. So you know how you work in tiny little circles? Well, you don't really have to worry too much about working in tiny circles if you just go and make sure you have enough layers on your paper. This actually blends really nicely with odorless mineral spirits. Oh, okay, the polychromos one. Okay, so yeah, this is the more of a harder lead, gets the details done. And as long as you work in like tiny little light circles and you go over it plenty, go over it enough pigment, you're able to blend with it. Like I said, this paper here is not the greatest with showing blendability, but it is still blends. It's just not really the greatest paper to work off of. I'm actually really kind of wondering what this paper is. I don't know. I'm thinking it's Bristol Smooth, but it's either Bristol Smooth or Bristol Vellum. If it's Bristol Vellum, still is it's okay to work with it, but it's not as great as some of the other ones that I know of. Let me see if this is dry. Feels like it's dry. Let me go over it lightly with my white and get some of these details in here. So if we wanted to, ooh, that felt a little bit wet still. Okay, let's get... Okay, and let's get a little bit of his ear. I don't know if I put any on his ear. Should have put some on his head. Okay, and I think... Oops, made that a little bit too thick. Silly me. Okay, if I end up messing it up, I may have to erase some of this. As you can always see whenever you make adjustments, sometimes you make messes or do something you're not supposed to do, and it's like, whoops, totally did it there. Let me try fixing this real quick. Where's my warm gray that I had? Right here. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better. Actually came in a little bit too thick on that side. So I was like, okay, that's got to change. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. I think with this, we created our shadows, we got our diamond. At least it looks like a dime. You also got 10 cents, which I hope that you can see now that I look at it. I'm like, did I just totally wipe my 10 cents away? Made it a little bit darker. Let me sharpen this. Hoping that reads 10 cents so people can see that it's 10 cents. And I do believe we are basically done with this video. We actually got really done really quick. Quicker than normal. See if we can't fix this up just a tad. There we go. Sometimes you need to improvise just a little. All right, I think that's good. Adding in some darker little reflections in here. I don't want to do too much. Okay. I don't want to mess with it anymore. I am done. Let's see here. Harder combination of softer, not lead. Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks, honey. See, he's always got my back on correcting me. It's like, okay, get your words right. That's it. Well, you caught me at the ending part, so yeah. I think we pretty much got it in there. It looks like 10 cents. It looks like a dime. Looks like we got some shadows in there, and it looks like we got a shadow on the other little items. So yeah, I think this is pretty much it. Definitely I know that I guess it kind of helps out a little bit with having enough time at the end, and that way I can run to go get my daughter or take her to the game. So yeah. But next week, pretty excited. We got the hamster to work on, so I am super, super excited for him. He is so cute too. He's gonna have this little bit of adjustments there, of course. You know, my dime, I needed adjustments on it also because I never draw it in the way it should look, and then I have to correct it and just kind of mingle with it and make it look more toward the reference photo. So I'm guessing this is going to be it on this video. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to leave a like. Definitely, if you are new to this channel, subscribe. Love to have you guys. And as far as Patreon goes, I'm going to try and get those reference photos out to you, and I'm hopefully going to be able to get your next video for the chimpanzee, his little nose and mouth done for you guys for that video. So we're working piece by piece on each segment. That way it's a little bit easier to watch and a little bit more easier to soak it in and learn. I know longer videos that some people put out there can be really hard to take all in with such a big video. So I make mine a little bit more pieced out on sections, so that way it's easier to be able to follow and retain some of the stuff that I have on there. So I guess until next time, bye you guys.